Hey guys, and a very warm welcome back to my channel. So in this video we will be starting up with the next security challenge, which is Northeast India security challenges. Okay, the security challenges in Northeast India. So I have already in the previous video discussed some basic, I gave the basic introduction about this issue, and I discussed some topics of the insurgent groups that are active in the northeastern part of India. I would recommend you guys to check that video out first, because this video is in continuation to that video. Okay, and before starting, for all those who are here new, so this is Awan Onjo this side, and I am here to present a video on the topic in Northeast India security challenges. And you are currently watching free UPSC preparation classes, in which we will be having 1 year comprehensive course of free UPSC preparation for the students who can't afford the coaching. Only one thing I want to ask from you, and I hope you do it for me, that is just to subscribe to this channel, because that gives us motivation to proceed further and to let us know that yes, these lectures are helping you in some way. And also give it a like if you like the video, and share it with the friends who need it. This is completely free for you guys, no charges involved, and in-depth proper UPSC preparation. Okay, the one you can get in any coaching institute for money. I'm just providing it to you for free. Only the reason being that I wanted to just let this video reach to people who just can't sorry, who can't afford coaching. Just one thing I wanted to tell you is to just subscribe to my channel Awan Onjo. Okay, so now without any further delay, let's begin. So in the previous video, I'm so sorry for the disturbance. In the previous video, we discussed about certain insurgent groups that are active in the northeastern part of India. And after that, another reason for the challenges which are posed as an internal security threat towards northeast, the second one of it is the ethnic violence. Okay, ethnic violence. Okay, one thing for the all the newcomers here, I just write with a mouse. Okay, so I currently don't have those pens and all, but if you will support me, I'll buy one also. But currently I'm just using the mouse, and my writing would go here and there, but you need to understand that this is more of a auditorial lecture rather than something explained here. Only the things that needs to be explained here and the keywords is what I'm going to write here for your better understanding, and it is going to be legitimate enough so that you guys can understand that. Okay, but not the bestest of the handwriting. Okay, so ethnic violence is something which is overlapping with the issue of insurgency as well. Okay, it overlaps with insurgency as well. So I already told you that the overall population is less in northeast. Okay, however, the ethnic diversity that is there, okay, the ethnic diversity which is there in the northeast is very high. Okay, the ethnic diversity, this is a point that needs to be mentioned. Okay, ethnic diversity in northeast is very high. Okay, ethnic diversity is high. So also there are geographically like hilly areas which are there in northeast. Okay, hilly areas are there, forested areas are also there, like dense forest. If you guys can check out the map of forests in India, so you can just easily locate that the dense forest is there in the northeastern parts of India. Okay, and these hilly regions and forested areas are inhabited by different kind of ethnic groups which have their own unique identity. Okay, they are all unique from each other, unique identity, as well as they have a distinct culture. Okay, they have a distinct culture. So these factors, okay, which I just mentioned to you, all of these factors together, okay, they constitute a reason for the clashes. Okay, which is between different ethnicities of northeast itself. Okay, so each ethnic group, okay, there is a basic, a kind of you can say a basic characteristic of all the different kinds of ethnic groups that are there. Okay, they are deeply committed to protect their own distinct culture. Protectionism, they want to protect their unique identity and their distinct culture. Okay, and all of them are having their own culture very very close to their heart. Okay, so what this leads to is sometimes non-acceptance of other cultures. Okay, so in turn that could lead to clashes between two different kinds of ethnicities. Okay, so this is one of the reason, that is ethnic presence of ethnic groups, diverse ethnicity there. Okay, which may lead to one ethnic group trying to establish supremacy over the other ethnic group. Okay, so these all of these factors has given birth to many of the ethnic conflicts in northeast. Okay, it has given birth to ethnic conflicts. Okay, and you know what, like they are armed, they are having weapons with them. Okay, they are having guns and other, like proper guns they are having, and other illegal weapons. Okay, so there is an illegal trade that happens in northeastern region, and illegal trade is usually through two countries, that is Myanmar and Bangladesh. Myanmar and Bangladesh are the two countries from where the major illegal trade of weapons is happening. Okay, and certain small arms are also passed on from China because of their close proximity to northeast. Okay, so first of all I will like to show you through the map the exact location and the neighboring countries around the northeastern part of India. So if you guys can see it properly, I hope it is completely visible, just increase the quality of video if not. So here you guys can see this is the northeastern part of India. Okay, and here you guys can see Bangladesh is in very close proximity to near the border of India. You guys can see here I'm just also marking the border area. Okay, so you can see that Bangladesh is in a close proximity to India. Also there are countries like Myanmar. Okay, Myanmar is also really sharing a very very long border with northeastern India. Okay, and here it is China. Okay, here it is China. So China is also sharing big borders from India. Okay, so you guys can see these countries are in real close proximities with our any India and Northeast India, and this is a reason that they are giving the illegal weapons and illegal trade of weapons happen. Okay, I hope it is very clear to you from this map, and I would like to just show you all the regions of the northeastern part of India. So these are the seven sisters. This is very very popular term, we all know seven sisters, but there is another thing that you need to know, that is seven sister is included in northeast along with this Sikkim. Sikkim is also a part of northeast India. Okay, so you need to keep on remembering, you need to remember this. Okay, not only seven sisters plus Sikkim is also there. Okay, so here you can see first one Arunachal Pradesh, from going from top to bottom. Okay, so this is a frontier state. Secondly, one of the biggest another biggest one, that is Assam. Then we have Meghalaya. Okay, then we have Tripura, then we have Mizoram, then we have Manipur, and here finally we have Nagaland as the seven sisters, and eighth one is this green colored. I'll just remove. Okay, so eighth is this green colored Sikkim. Okay, this is the eighth. Okay, so I hope this is very clear to you that what all is included in the northeastern India. Okay, so now let's move forward towards our discussion. Let's go back to our discussion. Okay, so I told you that all of these ethnic groups are deeply committed towards their own ethnic distinct culture and their own unique identity. So this leads to these social conflicts. Also, there is the manufacturing of, you know, transportation of those, illegal trade is happening of weapons and all. Okay, so this is also a reason which gives them, you know, it gives them something to hold upon in order to, when they have a clash, so they are having weapons, so it becomes a deadly affair as far as Indian internal security is concerned. Okay, so this was the second thing. Now let us look on to the third challenge, that is local migrant conflicts. Local migrant conflicts that are happening, okay, in northeastern India. Okay, so sometime, you know, all the local migrants that reside in northeastern part of India, they have the internal conflicts. Okay, and this conflicts, it usually they acquire communal colors. It usually get communal colors. Okay, and particularly when they are from two different communities. Okay, of course, when they are from different communities, so it is going to basically acquire communal colors. Okay, so this is another reason. Okay, fourth reason that I would like to touch upon is the border dispute, or you can say interstate border disputes. Interstate border disputes. Okay, so this is also a major thing. So when we see the northeastern part, okay, so there is an acute border dispute between, let's come back to this map to explain to you in a better way. Let me change the in color again to red. Okay, so when we look at the border disputes, okay, so there is a major border dispute between Assam, okay, between Assam, Nagaland. Okay, so you can see the proximity, Assam and Nagaland. Then also there is a dispute between Assam and Manipur, which also again shares border with Assam, and Assam basically share border with all the seven sisters. Okay, it is central, so of course the conflicts related inter-border, you know, interstate border disputes would be higher in relation to Assam. Okay, then Assam, Nagaland, Assam, Mizoram. Then you can see here Mizoram as well. Okay, so there is a border sharing of between Assam and Mizoram also. Okay, so there are issues. Then Assam and Arunachal are also having issues. Okay, then Nagaland and Manipur. Nagaland and Manipur are also having issues, and Arunachal Pradesh and Meghalaya, sorry, not Arunachal Pradesh, sorry, Assam and Meghalaya, how could Arunachal, so sorry for this. Okay, so Assam and Meghalaya are also having issues. Tripura is also there having issues. We'll talk about all of them. Okay, we'll talk about Nagaland and basically Naga insurgency in big detail. Okay, very detailed discussion. Historically, we are going to dig deep into the concept. Okay, so there is Naga community living in Nagaland, and there is Naga insurgency, which is very deadly one. We'll be talking about it in much more details. Okay, so I hope you understand the border, like where how borders are connected together to each other and how the conflicts are there. Okay, so there are interstate border conflicts that are there. Okay, also there are some kind of, you know, local issues that are there. local issues that arises from time to time. Okay, and there are some other issues as well. We are having a different category for this. Okay, so there what always happens is that where there is a certain kind of local issue, so first of all protests would begin. Okay, protests would begin. Okay, then this protest usually turns violent. They usually turn violent. Okay, and it leads to clashes between the protesters and the police that is deployed there, or the security forces that are there. Okay, and one of a very recent protest is related to AFSPA, armed security armed not armed sorry, armed forces special power act. This is the act that has been imposed there in northeast, in many states of northeast, and we'll be discussing deep about this act. But there are protests to withdraw this special power. Okay, and special power act that has been imposed there. We'll be talking about AFSPA as well in good details. Okay, then if we talk about the other issues, so in other issues there are like issues of drugs. Okay, drug supply. Again, here you guys can see Myanmar is there. Okay, so basically from Myanmar, and also if we go towards go further south, so there is a term which is very popular also. I don't know if you heard it or not. This is known as golden crescent. Golden crescent, and this is a kind of a nexus between different countries together as a drug supply chain. Okay, so what are the countries which are included in the golden crescent is Myanmar, first of all. Myanmar. Okay, then Thailand. Thailand, then Laos. Okay, they all of three together constitute the golden triangle, and through Indo-Myanmar border. Okay, and the international borders with Myanmar are that they are open, and the borders between India and Myanmar are porous, and they are also open. Okay, so this leads to further illegal smuggling of drugs into India. You can see the Indo-Myanmar border here, long border we are sharing with Myanmar. Okay, so the borders are porous and it is easily transported to India. It is illegally smuggled to India. Okay, so drugs is the issue. Okay, another issue I would like to talk about is smuggling of like weapons. Okay, smuggling of liquor is there. Smuggling of garments is there. Okay, smuggling of cosmetics. Okay, musical instruments, leather products, leather products. Okay, then things like furniture, electronics, and all of them, including weapons, of course, weapons, drugs. So all of them gives the all of them are like the illegal smugglings that happened. And also there are like funding of all of those extremists in northeast, all the rebel groups. Money earned through these kinds of smugglings and all that are used, they are further used for funding of these illegal rebel groups that are existing. Okay, so it increases further the internal security threat in northeastern part of India. Also, one thing I wanted to tell you is China's influence. Of course, China's influence, China's very close proximity, and they are influencing. They are also sometimes trading of the small weapons. and otherwise also they cannot, of course, openly support, but the other kinds of supports are also provided to these insurgent groups. Okay, so this is also an issue which is of grave concern, and all of these factors together creates some, sensitive conditions in the northeastern part of India. Okay, so what are the various factors? Okay, we have just discussed the challenges that are there. Now let us discuss the factors. We have to start another fresh topic of factors which are responsible for all of these security threats or challenges in northeastern India. Okay, so I'll be discussing many factors. Okay, we'll be discussing political factors, historical factors, geographical factors, and all. Okay, cultural factors, global factors. Then we'll be coming up to internal security apparatus, which I would be taking up in the next video, where we'll be discussing about all the different kinds of internal security forces which are deployed at various regions within the Indian continent, and what are those, and what is their functions. Okay, all of these things we'll be talking about, and all of the various agencies we'll be talking about, and then we'll be talking about all the special laws like AFSPA, UNPA, and then we'll be moving forward with our discussion related to other important things. Okay, so currently we'll be discussing about the factors which is affecting the security threats or challenges in northeast. Okay, so first of all, let me discuss to you about the various geographical factors or geopolitical factors. Okay, geographical. So okay, so I think this map is visible to you guys. So here you can see this red colored area, and this is like very narrow area. Okay, very narrow part, and this is basically a corridor which connects the mainland India. Okay, the, not to say mainland, but you can say the other whole India with the northeast India. So this is the only corridor that connects the both, and this corridor is known as Siliguri. Siliguri. Okay, so you can see that it is in West Bengal, between West Bengal and the northeast. So this is known as Siliguri corridor. Okay, and this is a very sensitive region. Why? Siliguri corridor Siliguri corridor is also known as chicken chicken neck corridor. Okay, so why it is called as chicken neck corridor? Chicken neck is sensitive in nature. Okay, so that's why, because looking at the sensitivity of this region, this area, this narrow place which connects northeast to other parts of India is very sensitive. Okay, and if there is any kind of blockade in this area, so they would completely, northeast would get completely disconnected from other parts of India. Okay, so hence it is a very sensitive region, because if there is some kind of insurgencies that happens, and if there is a blockade, so this blockade would completely detach northeastern part of India from the whole other India. Okay, hence this region is very of prime importance, and it is a very sensitive region, and it is only 22 kilometer wide. So you can see it is like a very narrow region, only 22 kilometer wide. Okay, so we need to look towards this thing. This is one of the factors, and just give me a second, let me change the ink color. Yeah, yeah. Okay, so also I would like to come to you to this previous map. So here you guys can see that there is a long distance international boundaries with neighboring countries. As you can see, this boundary with Myanmar. Okay, so there is this long international boundaries with other countries. Here it is China. Okay, so China is also like, China is here, so you can see the boundary of China also here. Okay, and many of the areas like Myanmar, it is also having porous borders. Okay, and this porous border presence is exploited by them for some illegal trades activities, which I discussed just right a few minutes ago. So all of that is a cause of concern. Geographically we are looking at it. Okay, so 8%, अराउंड 8%, लाइक अगर हम मोटी फिगर्स पे देखें तो इट इज़ लाइक 8% ऑफ जोग्राफिकल एरिया that is under northeast. Okay, and in that 8% there is half population, that is 4%, which reside there. Indian population, 4% of the total Indian population is what resides there. Okay, and we have like dense interstate boundary. Okay, like you can see the interstate boundary between different states within the northeast. And these interstate boundary, all of the state have different kind of law and order situations, and their state subjects are different. Okay, so jurisdiction is also different. And this creates a strategic challenge. Okay, how? Because if there is an insurgent group active in any of the state in this in a particular state within northeast, so in that case what would happen is that they would easily cross the border of the interstate borders, and there is less coordination between the different state governments of different states within northeast. So because of this issue, if there are any kind of insurgent outfits, they could easily cross this border, and they would go into the area of complete different kind of law and order situations and completely different kind of jurisdiction. So it's very easy for them to escape. Okay, so this is another issue. Okay, then um let us so we have done the geographical factors. Now let us discuss the political factors. Okay, now let's discuss the political factors. Okay, so with exception to Assam, with the exception to Assam and Arunachal, all the other states are very small states. Okay, with less population, and even because of the less population, there is lesser representation in parliament, less parliamentary representation. So because of that, of course, whatever issues they are having, as you know that, as you know already, that the representation is directly proportional to the population of that state. So if there is less population, so less parliamentary representation would be there, and their issues would be less taken into consideration. So this creates a kind of you can say the um, they don't feel good about it, and this could further lead to increase in the insurgencies. Okay, and this would ultimately could lead to creation of more of the rebel groups. So this was all about the political factors. Now let us look at the historical factors. Sorry. So let us talk about the historical factors. So first of all, I would like to talk about. Okay, so before 1947. So these historical factors in 1947, Assam, and there was Northeastern Frontal Alliance, NEFA, and there was a Union Territory of Manipur, okay, and there is Tripura. So these were all the four that were there in um, northeastern India earlier in around 1947 at the time of independence. Okay, then there were certain communist movements that happened in Manipur. Okay, earlier it was a princely state. Okay, and it later became a constitutional monarchy under the rule of Maharaja Budh Chandra. Okay, Maharaja Budh Chandra. Okay, so Maharaja Budh Chandra Singh is also there. Okay, Singh, and he signed the instrument of accession with India, which became due to which it became a part of India. Okay, but there were certain communist, movements that were going on there. Okay, at the same time, Tripura was also a UT. Okay, and it was under the king. It was under a king, Veer, Veer Bikram, Veer Bikram, and he died few days before India's independence. Okay, so his minor son named Kiri, Kiri Bikram. He was minor. Okay, Kiri Bikram Manikya, Mannikya, Manikya. He became the king, and the widow queen of King Bikram, Bir Bikram, was also, basically she took the charge of all the affairs of all the administration under the name of Kiri Bikram Manikya. Okay, so she was the one who signed the instrument of accession on 15th of November 1949 to be a part of, to make Tripura a part of India and it come into the Indian Union. Okay, in 1963, Nagaland was carved out. Nagaland was carved out of Assam. Then in 1971 and 1972, Meghalaya was carved out. Meghalaya was carved out. Okay. Also in 1931 and 1972 only, Manipur and Tripura, both of them, which were earlier union territory, were given the statehood. Okay. Also, all the NEFA was converted into UT, Union Territory. Okay, and Mizoram was also turned into Union Territory. Okay, and in 1987, the NEFA got the statehood. Okay, and it was called as Arunachal. Pradesh. Okay, and in finally 1987 only itself, along with Arunachal, Mizoram was also given the statehood. Okay, so I hope all of these are clear to you when it was converted into UT and then it was converted into state, in which you just have a mind map of this. Okay, so all the reorganization that happened in Northeast was in a hurry, and the history, ground realities, ethnicity, tribals, local people claim they all got overlooked. Okay, while the reorganization of Northeast, and these are the ones that gave to birth to the interstate border disputes, because on both the sides of the border there are some communities, the same communities that reside, and in between them they are divided by borders. So of course there are going to be disputes between them. So these led to the border disputes in Northeast. Okay, so whenever in history the political boundaries are changed, they always leave behind some section of people angry, dissatisfied, and these exercise, they need a long process and long commitment to be followed, and there needs to be a proper, you know there needs to be the emotional integration of people is very important. Okay, and if all of these are overlooked, then of course it is going to lead to these kind of internal wars, all these clashes and conflicts and all. Okay, so also the migrant issue is there. Okay, so migrant issue basically came during the time of Britishers. Okay, when they introduced tea gardening into these northeast areas. Okay, so what they did is that they took the people from basically Bihar, Jharkhand, and other parts of the India, and they took them to northeast as waged laborers and all. Okay, so they were made because tea gardening is very labor intensive. Okay, so they needed the labor, so they got it from them, and then they started to live in the northeast only, all those people. Okay, so it create some kind of disharmony and distorted demographic profiles due to this intense migration during the British time. Okay, so this is also an issue. Also globally, if you see, of course, they are sharing, there are border sharing of like Myanmar and China and Bangladesh, and also all of these issues are also very very important. They are a contributing factor to all the internal insurgencies that are happening, the issue that I discussed to you about smuggling of weapons, drugs, etc. All of this is it's basically improve, instigating more of all of those things, and they are just fundings and all. Okay, so this is also an issue. So this was all about currently all the factors that we talked about. We have talked about the various factors of internal security issues. Now in the next video I'll be talking about the different security forces that are there all over India, not only in northeast but all over India. We are going to take it up together, and then we'll talk about certain special powers, special power act like AFSPA and all. We need to know about this. In-depth discussion is going to be there, and then we'll talk about the other issues related to northeast. Okay, insurgencies and etc, all of that remaining issues. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed and liked this video and you understood it very well. If you did, please go and subscribe to our channel and leave a like if you liked it, and share it with your friends who need it. Just subscribe, it is completely free. I just want you to subscribe. Just hit, smash, do anything with that subscribe button, but it needs to get subscribed. Okay, because we are just putting in so much time, effort, you are giving your time, so only this small request. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Till then, bye bye, take care, stay safe, and I'll be coming up with the next video very soon. Okay, till then, keep smiling and stay safe. Bye.